So I just have a couple minutes before my next call, and I wanted to come on here and share a little part of my story that most people don't know. Because one of the things that I know to be true about social media is we spend so much of our time looking at highlight reels. We see the good, we see the stages, we see the opportunities, we see the revenue, the sales, the clients, the wins, the trophies, the awards, and we see so much of that we almost start to forget that there was something behind that. I know that it's very easy to compare yourself and to say like, oh my gosh, if only I could do that. And what we forget about is that there wasn't an overnight success. Like nothing is really an overnight success. That's what, of course, like the media would like allow us to believe. That's what PR would allow us to believe. I wanted to share a little bit of my story that I don't always share because I get really like kind of emotional sometimes when I tell it, so I'm going to try not to. Fingers crossed I cannot cry because I don't have mascara that's waterproof today. But I want to go back to actually, it was about 9 years ago, actually 10 years ago now, which is so crazy. And, I had just dropped out of college and I was like, I don't really know what my life is going to look like. And I started going to hair school and I wasn't sure how it was all going to work out, but I found out that I was pregnant, like right as I enrolled at hair school, which means suddenly I was going to be a single mom. And that was such a wake-up call for me because up until that point, I was still such a kid. Oh my gosh, such a kid. I was big into like pranks and everything. And so I find myself 20 years old, pregnant, no idea how I'm going to make ends meet, no clue how in the world I'm supposed to take care of a child that expects me to provide for them and that deserves me to provide for them. And so I took some time off of school and I was like, I don't know what to do, but I started applying for jobs. And let me tell you, I applied for probably 30 or 40 jobs while I was pregnant. And I was trying to apply before I was visibly pregnant. I was like, I really hope I can get a job before I'm visibly pregnant because this is very, very scary. And there was a couple where I interviewed and made it through the next round. But even at and this is so crazy to admit, like I applied at Taco Bell because that was my job in high school. And I was like, I'll be a shoo-in. I speak Spanish. I know I can get this. I know the product lines. I love this store. And even Taco Bell said like, I'm sorry, it's not the right fit at this time. And so literally every single job opportunity was becoming a dead end. And I was starting to panic. I was like, I don't know what to do because diapers are expensive. Formula is expensive. I don't know whether or not I'm going to get child support. I don't know how this is all going to work out. And so literally I went into the welfare office in Minnesota. And at the welfare office, that is not a glamorous process. I want that to be like so clear. It is not an exciting, that is not a high, that's not something you post all over social media. That was literally one of the lowest points in my entire life, walking into that welfare office and saying like, I need support for me and my daughter. Whew. And so literally I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so I want to go to school to become a hairstylist and I want to become successful. I'll get hired at one of the top salons. Like I promise, like I'm going to do this. And what I was told at that welfare office was literally, if you go to school, we can't support you. You have to stay home for a year after you have your baby. Otherwise, we can't financially support you. And I was like, are you serious? You mean to tell me if I go to school to try to start something better, to get out of the system, I can't get support? But if I stay home for a year, I can? And they were like, yeah. And so I think the benefits were not as amazing as like everyone might think they are. It was like $400 a month for food for our entire household, which also, it was just me and Dakota, but like we also were renting a room for my dad who was going through a financial hardship at that time, and $150 cash per month. $150 cash per month. I feel like I need to say that again because that is not enough to pay for anything. That's not enough to pay for onesies, the onesies you go through, or a stroller or a crib or anything along those lines. And we were in a season of life where I love my family, they've been amazing supports, but financially they weren't in a place where anyone could offer the support that I needed in this time. And so I'm sitting there like literally looking at these papers in the welfare office saying, so my only option is to stay home for the first year to get this support, and then what? And then they were like, then we'll support you with job fairs and you can get a job. And like the jobs that they were offering were like jobs at like Home Depot and Walmart and Taco Bell. And I'm like, so you mean I'm back in square one and I have to work my way up in an hourly job? Something isn't working. This isn't what I saw for myself. This is not the life that I wanted. And I'm sitting there realizing that everything in my life is set up to just become another statistic and to allow my daughter to become a statistic. Ooh, my voice like hurts when I start to talk about that. Because I was like, that's not going to be where our story goes. And so I did ask, this was kind of crazy, and I still don't know if this was even like the right thing to do, but everything has led us to here. But I asked, if I go to school, is anyone going to check to see if I'm at home or at school? And they said for the first year, no. And I was like, okay. I knew I had 9 or 10 months left in the program. And so as soon as I had Dakota, I went back to school. And I do have to say thank you so much to my family for supporting with as much childcare as you could during that season, because I don't think I could have made it through that season without you guys, especially my sister Stephanie, who covered every single Saturday without pay for that entire 9 or 10 months. But literally I was like, I'm going to go to school. And guys, I go back to these journal entries, and there were days where I didn't have enough money to get home, to take the bus home. It was a $6 round trip. And so I had like $3 to get there. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay to get home. And I would go to school and I would hope that I would get a client that would tip me enough to cover for my bus money. And let me just say first and foremost that God has been so good and he has had a hand through everything, but we made ends meet. We made it work. I didn't know how, and logically it didn't make sense. It did not make sense how everything worked out. Like, we bought everything from Goodwill, and I'm talking Goodwill with a 25% off coupon. You know, life is crazy when you're using a 25% off coupon at Goodwill. And by the way, how you get that, in case anyone's like, I actually need that, if you donate anything, they give you a 25% off coupon, at least in Minnesota. So you can use the 25% off coupon on all your purchases. So we're sitting there, I'm buying all my onesies on like the clearance rack at Goodwill with 25% off coupon. Logically doesn't even make sense how we made it through that season. But you know what? We did. And then as I went through school, I was like, I'm going to build my portfolio. This is not what our life is going to continue like. I don't know how. I don't see the path. I don't know what comes next, but I know that there's something bigger and that there's a beautiful future waiting. And I have to step through this challenge and this journey in order to make it happen. I have to make the best of it. And so I actually applied at 5 of the top salons in Minnesota. It was Jute, Rocco Altabelli, Lily, John English, and then there's one more that I can't remember. But at least those 4, I applied at all 5 of these, and I got job offers from all 5 of those salons. So I got to pick a salon. And I remember the day that those came through, and I just like fell on the floor crying, because it was like, we're breaking the cycle. This is it. This doesn't mean we've made it. This doesn't mean we're millionaires. This doesn't mean everything's figured out. But you know what? We're breaking the cycle, and it starts here now today with me stepping forward in faith in this path. And a lot is going to figure itself out on the way. But all I know is that I can be faithful in showing up. I can show up. I can be committed to not letting this be our life. And I'm so grateful, because today Dakota is not a statistic. She's incredibly well adjusted. She's a star student, which of course doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be successful, but she's successful because she has committed to believing that she will be successful. And I already know it. I see it in her. I see brightness, and I see hope and security. And so I'm actually now late to my next call, which is bad. See how it's so easy to like accidentally run over when you're an extrovert. You just want to like talk. But that was the journey that led us to here. And there's more to it, but I don't always share that part because it is incredibly personal and emotional, but I want to share it because somebody may need to hear it. Someone may say, you know what, I'm in that path right now. I don't see all the steps. I don't see how it all works out. I don't know, but I want to encourage you and know that I've been there, and so have other people. We don't always share those parts of our story because it's very, very painful. But when you literally wake up and you have like track marks in your arms from giving so much blood plasma that your arms scarred because you knew that you could make an extra $60 per week, and you know what, that paid for diapers, you can make it through that season. You can make it through bigger things. There are bigger, incredible things for you. So I just know that I was meant to share this today. I don't know who needed to hear it, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. My job is just to show up for you guys and share even the ugly parts of the journey, because those parts did not feel very polished. It felt very thrown together and just like nickel and diming every single moment. So I will catch you guys later. I'm going to go hop on late to my next call. Oops. I'll see you all later. Bye.